The 1991 market-friendly reforms, India unlocked the potential of its private sector and set the stage for its subsequent expansion. The statistics tell the story. As per World Bank data, in the 3 decades prior to liberalizations, the Indian GDP grew by 7 times. And in the 3 decades post-liberalizations, our GDP grew by 14 times. There could be no better validations than these numbers on the power of liberalizations. My dear friends, during the license Raj, India's business landscape was dominated by a few established business houses, which navigated the heavily regulated environment by developing strong ties with the government. They tightly managed the licensing requirements. Most of these companies survived in a protected market, where entry barriers were very high and there was little penalty for inefficiency. Looking back, I firmly believe that the restriction of capital flows and the tight controls on exports and imports ended up doing significant damage, especially to the capital-intensive infrastructure sector. However, the liberalization in 1991 marked a major turning point. The breaking down of the license Raj means that the government did away with the industrial licensing for most of the sectors. It eliminated much of the requirement for businesses to obtain government permission, to invest or set prices or build capacity. All of us have heard that it is the most adaptive that survive, and the post-liberalizations period proved this again. The majority of the slow-moving pre-liberalization businesses failed to adapt to this market-oriented economy. They either vanished or never lived up to their full potential, much in contrast to the post-liberalizations Indian companies of today. My dear friends, if the period between 1991 and 2014 was about putting down the foundation and building the runway, the period from 2014 to 2024 has been about the aircraft taking off. And a strong example of this takeoff is the National Infrastructure Pipeline, the NIP program. The core essence of the NIP is its integrated approach involving participation from both the public and private sectors. With the funding model divided between the two, I consider the NIP program that has earmarked a projected investment of rupees 111 lakh crores over the period of FY20, FY25 as a benchmark of how a government can put in place a national view of over 9,000 infrastructure projects across sectors like energy, logistics, water, airports, and social infrastructure. And like I said, in my view, the single most important catalyst enabling this takeoff has been the quality of governance that we have witnessed over the past decade, and the metrics speaks for themselves. India's fiscal investment has doubled from 1.6% of GDP to 3.3% of GDP. Corporate income tax rates have fallen from 30% to 22%, creating a headroom for corporates to invest. and the current account deficit fell from 3.5% of GDP to 0.8% of GDP. These outcomes are fundamentally rooted in this government effectiveness in institutionalizing policy for transforming our nation's landscape from one of the challenges to one of possibilities.